So after quite a long drawn out process, number one, I discovered that I hadn't put reverse in backwards. It was just a combination of the wax on the new gears and the new bulk rings, actually, or the synchros, that are creating so much friction that the gearbox was just jammed because there was so much friction. Drench everything in WD-40 and it freed right up, so that's cool. And it turns out the bearing that was supposed to go on this shaft, apparently there's nothing wrong with it, because I sent it back to Mini Spares and they said there was nothing wrong with it and sent it back, and I didn't believe them, so I bought another one off someone else and it's exactly the same. So now I've got two bearings, but okay. So I can get back to putting this together. What I have done is spent about, I think about an hour sanding this down with sandpaper and grinding off the lip so that the bearing will actually press on a lot more easily. It's still a friction fit, but no, it's a lot better now. So may as well get started on that. Okay, so that's that on. Now I'll clean up that. So as you can see, it's all vaguely back together. This is reverse gear, and you can see when I turn the primary shaft, the output, which goes to the differential through this gear, is turning the opposite way to the input. And when I change into, there is fourth gear. So this is basically the input shaft is now locked to the output shaft through this gear. So it spins at exactly the same speed. So that's fourth gear. And do I pull? Yeah. Then third gear. Second gear. Yeah, so first gear. Okay, and there is neutral, where everything is, not locked to anything. So that's cool. Carry on. that's the majority of the gearbox together. Yeah, it's all bolted in place now. I spent so long hammering out was this old bearing, because this is a modified version of the drop gear which has its own bearings inside it. So basically there was no need for the gears pressed into the case in here. So you press the shaft into the case instead, and it's just a better system really. So this just goes on here and transmits power down from the engine, and then the other end sits inside another casing which bolts on here, and there's another bearing that goes on the end of this shaft in that casing as well, but it's not time for that yet. That, as they say, is that. It's differential now. I was very lazy when removing it, or it's a limited slip diff, but yeah, technically you can't get this out without unbolting all of these, because I had to have them groove machined into the case to clear the bolt heads. That sits here. When this output gear spins, this spins and then sends power to the wheels. I'll clean that up and then fix it. Okay, so that's the differential in place. The reason it takes so long to fit this there's 3 plates which sort of form the differential housing, and you can't just plonk one on and tighten it. You've got to put them all in place and very gradually tighten everything down because they all squeeze together. Well, as you can see, that's spinning, which is nice. Well, and that's in neutral, so yeah. So if I put that in a gear, yeah, there we go. There's a gear. Not sure what gear. This is limited slip as well, so I can't turn those independent of each other. So the only thing left to do now is, oh, it's got a lot heavier, the speedo drive housing, which is just driven off the end of the main shaft. Ooh, that's gooey. Yeah, the CV gator gave up as well before the engine blew, so everything's covered in grease. But yeah, you can see the slot in the end of there. All it does is this engages with that slot, and there's a few little gears in here which are specific to your speedo. And then you can see it turning in the end there. And that is what drives your speedo. Anyway, I'll clean this up. That is more or less how you rebuild a mini gearbox. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are people out there who will point out things that I've done wrong, but I'm quietly confident that it's going to work. And hopefully not leak. That'd be good as well, but you can't have everything. So yeah, I've had word from the engine refurb guy, Barnes also, that my engine is going to be ready by Friday, so I'll start rebuilding that when I get it back as well. And hopefully by Christmas have a running Mini. Possibly. Anyway.